Happy International Women's Day. Congratulations. Congratulations, women, because you're doing an outstanding job of stepping into divine leadership. And congratulations, men, for supporting us, cheering us on, and being our champions as we discover ourselves as we never have before. We've stepped out of a module that wasn't bad. It just did not completely honor the multidimensional parts of ourself, our intellect, our curiosity, our strategy, our ability to form complex systems, equations, and at the same time, maybe bake a loaf of bread and fix a scratched knee, a little boo-boo on someone we love. So it's complex being a woman, isn't it? I think we can all agree on that, men and women. I know men always say, oh, women are such a mystery. And women say, oh, gosh, I'm such a mystery. Well, we are embarking on discovering that complexity of who we are. We are creating new archetypes, new ways of being that are feminine. In my forthcoming book on feminine power, I'm going to be covering, what is feminine power really? I like to say feminine power is a fungus. It's working in the group, right? Feminine power is a flock of geese. We have to fly in formation to help each other with the draft. The way geese do, they fly in that formation so that each other goose gets this uplift of air, and they change the person in the front, and that's how they can fly these long distances. That's feminine power. How do we work together? Feminine power is within men too. It's within all of us. It's the ability to collaborate. It's the ability to listen. It is the ability to find a common way of communicating, a language based on intuition, a language based on wisdom. If you've ever been into a meeting, let's say that's a tense meeting, a board meeting, a meeting of opposites, the feminine comes in and says, I just love that thing that you did. That was just so wonderful. How did you do that? Can you show me? Can you tell me? Finding the personal way, finding a common relationship, because that will cut the ice in any business or political meeting. It will throw the energy of adversity off. And that's what we have to bring, from women. We have a great deal of deep wisdom, the wisdom of childbearing, whether we've had a child or not. That wisdom is in our body. We embody a creative energy, an energy to birth, an energy to grow something. And this is powerful, and it's needed right now. So today, we celebrate all the women around the world. And I would like to dedicate today to my mother and my grandmother, my heroines. My mother was born in the 30s, and she went to the University of Chicago in the mid-50s. She was the only woman in the physiology department. And she said they were always saying to her, oh, go home and have a baby. She eventually did do that, me. But she was a pioneer, and she talked about how she worked so hard to be seen as a scientist and taken for value. And she passed on to me a mantle saying, you'll go farther, you'll do better, because the doors have been opened into academia and into the sciences for women. my father, who was so funny, he was a scientist who said he was a feminist, but truthfully, I don't really think he was a feminist. He was just happy for my mom to give that up and be a stay-at-home mom, and of course I got the benefits of it. But he would always say to me, well, you know, your mother's really much smarter than I am. I couldn't have written my PhD thesis without her. And in the laboratory, she always did everybody else's work because she was so good at you're gonna laugh, splitting the eyes of fruit flies to see them under the microscope. Nobody could do that like your mother. So my mother passed away when I was in my 20s, and I think of her often. And today I like to dedicate all of us to my mother and all our mothers who paved a way for us to live in the freedom that we do have in our world. And I also want to honor my grandmother, Marguerite. My grandmother, Marguerite, was the first woman in the state of Missouri to bob her hair. This was in 1919, and there she is in her, she went to the Columbia University in Missouri. She was one of only a few women there. And in those times, you could only, as a woman, major in being a school teacher, or you could be an art major. So she did both. But there she is with her cute little bobbed hair, and apparently it was a big scandal. I read in her diary that there was an article in the newspaper about how Marguerite had bobbed her hair, and everyone thought she lost her mind. Of course, then she went to Paris, and that really took them by surprise. So thank you, Mother. Thank you, Grandmother. Thank you, all women who are out there making a difference, not just in the big way, but in the small way with our families, our neighbors, our communities. A kind gesture, a woman's touch is real, and it's everlasting. I love you, women, and I love you, men, for supporting the women in our world. Happy International Women's Day.